Greetings, I am Tom Earl. On this episode, I have the amazing poet, activist, and educator, Asha. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the celebration. It is a pleasure, a joy, and an honor to have you here. I know you could be anywhere. So the fact that you've decided to join us, we are honored by your presence. On this episode, we have the amazing privilege of having this awesome activist, poet, educator, friend, conflict mediator, all these awesome things and more joining us. She goes by the name of Asha. How you doing today?
I'm cool, man. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from LA. I'm South Asian by descent. My family comes from East Africa through the diaspora, and so there's a lot of complex history there that growing up has really pushed me to kind of learn more about my identity and therefore learn about others and other travels and things like that. And so it kind of pushed me into teaching and learning about other people and helping kids kind of cultivate their identity and a stronger mindset, more so than I did. and and I heavily into like the hip hop scene of music and stuff. And I think the two of those things combined with the conscious lyrics that I was listening to growing up really pushed me into being a spoken word poet today. And so now I'm in San Jose. I teach 8th grade English, history, ELD. I've taught 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 5th grade. I love the knuckleheads. And yeah, I'm just loving life. I got my dog Coltrane sitting here next to me. Cool.
That's awesome. That sounds very relaxed.
Yeah, it's summertime, so we are relaxed.
Yes, you gotta save the energy.
Yes, collect those spoons.
Talk to me a little bit about what do you mean by you're navigating your complex identity? I don't want to misquote. What was a bridge to becoming an educator? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is complex and it is super layered, but basically growing up, because of my mother's family and her journey, growing up, we didn't have a lot of community around us. My whole family basically lives in London. And so anytime I got a glimpse into like our culture, traditions, religion, things like that, it was only, every so often, every couple of years in London. And because of that, it kind of sent me in search of something, right? In search of some kind of validation. And so for a while it was hip hop and I was cool with that. And I was fine with it. And I kind of, ignored a lot of the traditions and histories that my family have been through and gone through. And then for a minute, it just kind of clicked. And I stepped back. I was actually in a college class and I stepped back and I was like, damn, why didn't you have any pride in yourself? Why didn't you have any pride in the journey? And the resiliency that, like my family has shown over generations. And, in school, in the 6th grade, you learn about ancient civilizations. And one of those civilizations that you learn about is the Indus Valley civilizations, like the India early civilizations. And in every textbook that you'll see, from the textbooks that I used growing up to the textbooks the kids are using, which is probably still quite frankly the same one, you'll see that there's a discussion of the caste system and this basically subjugation and segregation of peoples based on the color of their skin, which ultimately turned into like a capitalist system as well. And my family name is Sudra, and that's actually the bottom layer of the caste system. And so, growing up, I was like, what? Like, what does that mean? What does that mean for my people, for my family, for the journeys that we've been on? And, for me to have to deconstruct all of those things in college, it was unfortunate because I struggled a lot growing up with who I was and what I was involved in and what I could be a part of, and what I could just be an ally to. And it wasn't until then that I started to develop a pride and sense of self and learn about these histories in a more authentic and knowledge seeking way. And so for me, my number one goal as a teacher is to is to start these kids off knowing, like, I want you to be proud of where you come from, even if that where you come from is struggle, and to be proud of the struggle and to honor the struggle and to, see where you are and where you can be, and the strength that you've been given based on those journeys. Because I wish that I had that discussion a lot earlier in life. And so it's been kind of my mission, because the education failed me and my community and our family story. They never legitimized or validated my story at all. I felt like, man, maybe I needed to join the education ranks and do that for these kids, or not do that for these kids, but provide a platform for those kids to be able to seek that out themselves.
That is awesome.
It's complex, bro. I could have gone on for
So, I mean, I read you as a very like confident, comfortable in your skin type of person. So was coming to peace and coming home to who you are and your identity, was that a huge like puzzle piece that connected it for you, or was the confidence already there?
Yeah, I mean, I guess a lot of people see me as being a confident person. I'm, to be honest, a very insecure person and constantly questioning things and constantly doubting things. But I would say that I have journeyed through my confidence, and I think it has come from an understanding. It's really an understanding, because I can't necessarily change who I am in my mannerisms and my identity, behaviors, like things like that. But what I can do is I can learn to understand them, and then be reactionary when, like understand and be preventative, for certain things that I know I can like be about. And so I think through journeying and learning about my histories and things like that, I have grown in like a sense of confidence. Man, it's just about understanding the world, and like how you can fit in it. So, I mean, it's funny because I have a poem that's kind of about this puzzle piece thing. And there's a line that says, like, I've always kind of felt like I was a puzzle piece, like put in the wrong box. When you got like hella puzzles going on and you got to clean up, okay, it's cleanup time. And that one puzzle piece just gets in the wrong box. Like, I've kind of always felt that way. In London, my brother and I stick out like a black, like a sore thumb. We're like black sheep. Like, we don't understand the language. We don't get all the customs and rituals and things like that. So it's a journey. It's a journey, man. We're all on it.
That's amazing. Well, we appreciate, you sharing and giving us insight into something as personal as what you're talking about. So I know I appreciate that, and the people listening do as well. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You mentioned your poetry. Would you mind telling us a little bit about how you got into poetry and specifically spoken word?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, right, like I kind of talked about, because I had an absence of like Hindu culture in my life, I found hip hop. Growing up in LA, I was born in '88, and so those early 2000, late '90 years were booming for underground hip hop in Los Angeles. And we'd go to Amoeba and the Basement and all of these places and venues, and you'd see a lot of up and coming folks. And so I feel like I've always been writing. I've always had a journal. In fact, my friend from middle school told me the other day that she found a journal from middle school of, I guess I wrote rap, like we were a crew, but like I wrote the raps for everybody. All right, you gotta spit this.
You say this.
It's funny. We were called and I'm not gonna front, we were called the French Fry 7.
The French 5-7? French
Fry 7, yeah.
French Fry 7.
Shout out to the French Fry 7. It's a trip. So, I've always been writing. I've always been listening to music, and I've always been fascinated with words. I have a really vast vocabulary, but a lot of that didn't come from necessarily reading. It came from the hip hop and the conscious hip hop that I was listening to. So I've always been fascinated by the way that like wordplay and the way that words can like, flow with each other. And so through hip hop, I've always been writing. And before I found spoken word, I like lightweight produce like some hip hop tracks. When I was living up in Oakland, I had a lot of folks to collaborate with. And so, I also studied electronic music in college. And so I learned the production and engineering end of it. So I naturally like make beats and like try to, rap to them and stuff like that. Um, and then to be totally honest, okay, Love of My Life, Common and Erica Badu. It's
Yeah.
a song about hip hop, right? And
Yeah.
then Common's got I Love Her, I Used to Love Her. It's a song about hip hop and like his relationship with hip hop. And then I was watching the movie Brown Sugar one day. Shout out to Brown Sugar. I love that movie. Um, and it's kind of about this relationship with hip hop as well. And the 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 main character writes this article that's about a relationship, but it's about her relationship with hip hop. And so like people have done this story and things like that. And so like I gave my go at it, and I did it in like a Jill Scott kind of a cadence. You feel
Yeah.
me? Like, and that's very spoken word, And so that one piece, I actually ended up recording that piece with some homies in the studio at school, and it was like a jazz track, and I kind of did my piece over it. But then like when I moved to Oakland and graduated, they like my work had like this kind of open mic talent show kind of a thing,
Yeah.
and people were kind of like egging me on to do something, and I was like, I don't have anything to do, but I had memorized this one piece, and so I spit it, and it felt good.
That's amazing.
It felt good. And so that was the one piece I did, and then I ended up writing another piece because of a pretty significant like moment working, like a kind of traumatic moment. I needed to process through it and write through it, and that ended up being my first like slam piece, like my first piece that I would actually go out and do and stuff and perform, and yeah, just kind of everything snowballed from there.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Thankfully, San Jose has been a community for me that I have been able to find space
Yeah.
for. Also, I mean, I don't remember how long ago it was, like how many years ago, but I definitely, coming down to your open mic, however many years ago that was one of my very, very, infancy times of spitting some stuff on the mic in front of folks.
Well, it was a joy to have you there, and I'm looking forward to hearing all the work you've put in, how you've progressed. So, would you mind sharing with us one of your pieces so people could check it out?
Yeah, I would love to. So I'll do the one about the puzzle piece thing because we were kind of talking about that earlier.
Cool.
The first line, shout out to the movie How High. The line is the first line is from that movie. And the piece is called 100. These bitches ain't nobody. I try to remind myself of that in public spaces. Strangers judging tokenized, exotic colored faces, examining and intersecting my identity, unable to identify, like checking the other box on the race category on standardized tests in schools. For the longest time, I tried to assimilate, as lectures from my mom would echo in my mind, reminding me to make friends, but I was always a puzzle piece put in the wrong box. Aware of my difference, yet still trying to be a part of the bigger picture, I grew up ashamed of my culture, masking curry smells with hamburger on the grill until I realized the hypocrisy and got to know my family ethnicity history. I'm proud to be who I am, standing strong, representing the struggle of generations before me, yet still, I am so aware of the eyes on me, my mind trained to stay ready at all times, code shifting as best as I can, covering my tattoos, tying back my full hair, at first for fear of discrimination because we can be so unfair, and then it was because I realized it was the only way I could ever navigate this fear. People of color are forced to have a heightened awareness of their surroundings. Survival depends completely on respecting your id's groundings, rooted in the confidence that you are who you are. Though still listening to your ego, making sense of what you know is unreasonable, yet not leaving your id's dreams behind, reminding yourself that those fantasies of social interaction push you to thrive while the superego puts everything in check. Oppressing the hopes and desires dreamed in a subconscious, subdued in distraction, like the daily plug-in drug reality shows today's youth complacent. I know how to survive in these situations. Hegemonic creations of space infiltrated by existence. But see, for some stupid reason, because I'm a woman, my struggle is harder. My independence creates intimidation mixed with gender non-conforming roles eased off of heteronormative regulation. I make some people uncomfortable with the real me. But I like that. I'm over fearing your judgment, justice of finding my voice harbor the anger of 29 years of silence, of self-hate, of faking confidence that I had every right to be there in the first place. The first takes of being myself never made the final cut. Highlighted on my blooper reel time after time, trying to be someone I wasn't. After one time I decided I was over it and needed to keep it 100. Hunting down lies to redefine myself was done, and I know I'm fly. So with one eye on you, I stay stunned. Hey.
Hey! That was powerful.
I like to start my sets with those, like when I do features, and I just walk up to the mic and I don't say anything, and I just mean mug everybody. And then I start. And then I come back and I'm like, hey.
And what's the reaction? What's the experience you're looking for starting like that?
I guess to just like catch your eye, to just like make you think about, the judge, because we all feel that judgment. No matter like really who we are, I think everybody can kind of walk into a place and like look around and be like, what's happening here? How am I going to be received and stuff like that? So I like to start it off by just getting people what's going on? What is she about to do? Like, especially if they don't know who I am. Like, yeah. Especially if there's someone in the crowd that I really love, like a homie, a community member, or something like that, I always stare at them and I do the lines. This is just fun. It's fun.
What was there a moment or something that happened, or like what led to the first writings of this poem?
Yeah, I think that this one kind of more so came about because I was like, I think I was just like really going out a lot in the new community that I was living in. I can't remember if it was in Oakland or if it was back in Watsonville, or if it might have even been in San Jose. It might have been in San Jose at the time. I think I was new to San Jose and I was going out and stuff, and I was going to like newer spaces to try to like network, and I don't know, like me and professionalism, like it's hard, like it's like, I don't, their definition of professionalism is never what mine is. It's more just about respect and not about those other formalities and stuff like that. And so I just always felt a little challenged, I guess, and maybe it's more introspective. I know I'm very like, I can just spin in my mind all day. But yeah, I think I was just, trying to spit out new spaces and kind of more on this tip of like figuring out who I am and being authentic and being okay with that, Yeah.
What about from when you wrote it then to now?
So the line at the very end where I kind of like say my age, of where like I'm like, I had this anger about myself, but now I'm okay. So I wrote it when I was 27, so it's 2 years ago. So I changed the year, like every time I perform it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm just continuously like, it's a journey, right? There's no like end point into learning about yourself or learning about who you are. And so for me, every time I perform it, it's truth. Like I might be okay with one aspect of myself, but there's another aspect of myself that I'm still like trying to figure out and trying to come to terms with. And so when I perform the poem that week, maybe I'm talking about that issue. And when I perform it 2 years from now and I say 31, maybe I'm talking about that issue that I was dealing at the time. So I always try to come with like, what poem do I need to say and to hear from myself? Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
How does somebody go from being uncomfortable, or, there's a discomfort with either something about our body or our identity, to becoming comfortable? How do you do that?
I mean, I suppose it looks different for everybody, right? So there's no formula. I'm still really trying to figure it out myself. But for my behalf, right? From what I've experienced and journeyed through, um, man, it's still so hard, right? Like that's like even to explain like how I've I think okay, so okay, I think I figured it out. I got an answer. I just danced around a bush for a while. No, so I think for me, like I was saying before, a lot of the things that I've been learning about myself, I've been able to find and root in like ancestry and in history and in like I have this new phrase that I'm trying to write into a poem and like inherent triggered trauma, and so it's just like this. There are reasons why I act or say or sound the way that I do, and so I just need to understand that more. And so for me personally, it's been journeying through like my family history, learning more about the experiences that my family have been through, and then trying to then step back from that and like see myself in the picture, and then like how does this correlate to myself. um but it's, I mean, it's hard. I'll be stepping back all the time, you know. I think community helps. I
Mm,
think that I've found some folks to give me some pretty amazing affirmations along the way, and because of that, it's continued to push me where I might in the past have just sort of given up, and not pushed, but having that encouragement and that community love there, I think is very powerful as well.
that's awesome. I love that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And just want to share with folks that Asha, as you've probably guessed, is going to be our feature for this Sunday's live and online expression session. That's July 16th at noon Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Nigeria or London time. And
Hey.
of course, you can attend from anywhere in the world. If you want the link or to register for that, just go to tomrell.com/events. And our theme this month is authentically me, which you might hear coming up in our conversations. What does that theme mean for you?
I mean, it has a lot to do with kind of like what we were just talking about, right? So if I understand who I am, and if I understand where these traits come from, and I honor that, and I accept that, and I go out in the world knowing what I know about myself, and knowing that that knowledge can enable me to interact with the world in a more genuine way. I'm seeking that all the time.
Mm.
So for me, my artwork has to 100% be authentic. I mean, I work with kids, and if you try to walk up in front of like some eighth graders and front like you're somebody that you're not, they will call you on your
Yep.
ass. Like they will straight up be like, bitch, you know. So like, I think they've really taught me, you know, to be real. You know, circle it back, go to the comfort thing, man. I'm comfortable because the kids make me comfortable, you know.
Mm.
Like there are a lot of insecurities that I have that these kids be complimenting me on and things like that, and so the kids will tell you straight up. So I think the kids are teaching authenticity at all times. It's the world that challenges them to be inauthentic,
Yeah.
right? So um I love that about them. So yeah, authenticity is just number one for me. I struggle to write like persona poems because I'm like, nah, B, that's not me.
Yeah.
You know, so like those are things that I think one has to kind of like journey through and find out like, how do you always authentically be yourself? Are you telling your voice? Are you speaking from your voice? Are you telling your story? I think that my story is too important for me
Mm.
to not tell it at all times.
Whoo! You mind
Yeah.
running that back one more time?
Yeah, my story is too important for me to not tell it at all times.
And what does that look like for you?
Man, speaking up, speaking truth. I mean, as a woman of color from the public school LAUSD system, I was silenced. My voice was silenced. I had no voice. I didn't find it, like I said, until really, you know, much later in life. And I was angry about that. I was angry about that. Um, I think that right now, particularly in the times that we're living in, folks is trying to erase our stories,
Mm.
like actively seeking to erase our stories. Mine is never one you'll find in a history book. ever. I actually did organize and teach a class at UCSC based on my particular family history and story because I thought it deserved that. Um, and so, if mainstream media isn't gonna tell my story, shout out to Hassan Minaj on that Netflix special though. That shit is really my story. And Master of None, because damn, that's the thing is like my story, the South Asian story, and that's not even my story because we're products of the diaspora anyways. But it was just Apu. That was it, right? We had The Simpsons, and my mom loved it. Like she would crack up. It's like that wasn't really us. It was a satire of it, and so nothing is gonna tell our story. Like nothing is gonna tell my story. Nobody has the experience. Nobody's seeking to tell that story really. Till maybe I blow up and somebody make a biopic of it or something.
But you're telling it now, even if it's just for a couple of people, 10, 20, 100,000.
That's it. That's
You know?
it. This tattoo that I have right here on the bottom, there's script and it says Gujarat, and it says in Gujarati, like legacy essentially. And that's important to me. Like, what do we leave behind? What's
Mm.
gonna be remembered? I'm very worried that my family history is going to be forgotten. And so I'm actively working to preserve it. And so I am my family history, right? Like I'm a part of that history. So I have to speak my truth at all times.
Mm. Speaking of, would you mind sharing another poem with us?
Yeah, I'd love to. So I actually have one that like I haven't performed very many times. I kind of just wrote it recently, just kind of wrapped it up and finished it. So might need some loose ends tied up, but I'd like to share it.
Please do.
Yeah, some all on that authentic tip. This piece is called Scarred. I want you to tell me about all the scars on your hands so I could tell you about all the scars on my hands. I have a lot of scars on my hands, a lot of stories and memories, torn nerve endings, ending moments nurtured in tissues, scarred over, sometimes trying to forget, sometimes remembering to live, sometimes just to survive. You see, these stories on my hands are proof that I am surviving. So show me yours. I'll show you mine. Brown hands were never designed to be without wound. Wandering after centuries of displacement, there was no way this flesh would exist without question. Defenses always on guard, always up, always pushing or pulling to the nearest emergency exit because our very existence is threatening. I have teeth marks on my hands, though. I have never had enough to feed. Remembrances of doors closed shut, despite my fingers wedged between frame and opportunity, begging for a peek inside at what the table even looks like. My hands have too many burns to be able to look at a bridge and see hope. To see a door handle and not check its temperature, to see that it too will punish me for taking risk. Distorted fingertips altering identity, matching mind, body, and spirit that I do not know self. Do not know how to navigate fences, barriers constructed, construing an atmosphere of doubt despite planning, despite detail-driven action, despite a conception of reality. My hands will always remember that when climbing fences fall naturally. Do not strive to rest atop divides because those who built these fences never wished for hands like these to get a grip of what both sides look like. Intentional spikes looking to impale flesh which does not belong, which is unwelcome, which for like centuries has continued to search for home. I want you to tell me about all the scars on your hands so I could tell you about all the scars on my hands. I have a lot of scars on my hands, searching for hands that look like mine, similarly scarred, wounds healed over, reminding one another that our presence is unrelenting, that our home is wherever we construct it.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
It's such an honor. I mean, it's these type of interviews are, because it's one-on-one, very intimate, and I just
Yeah.
appreciate getting to hear poems where I know people are going deep on. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you for letting me bring that one into the mix.
My pleasure. Where does that poem come from for you?
So actually, like, ironically, everything that I reference in that is actually a scar, like, that I have. Like, my friend Jeff gave me some teeth marks right there.
Jeff.
Like, this is like a door frame that I, like, accidentally, like, closed my hand.
Ah.
So I actually did. So I was painting a mural. I paint murals at the schools that I work at, and I was painting my mural in Watsonville. I have 2 of them out there, and I was really, really excited that, like, it had just been primed and cleaned, and I just, like, was really excited, like, yeah, I get to paint. And it was summertime, and the school was closed down, but I had forgotten my plans in my classroom. But, like, my classroom was at a bungalow outside, and there's just, like, a little 4-foot fence, maybe 5-foot fence. And I had my classroom keys. I could just hop the fence real quick, go jump into my classroom, grab my plans, jump back out, go around to the other side of the school, and then I can start painting. Awesome. Super excited. No. I actually was wearing the shorts yesterday. I still have them, but so I started to climb the fence. Like I said, very short. I've climbed many fences in my life. My basketball shorts got caught on the top, and instead of being, like, curved over, the spikes were just sticking straight up. And because my shorts got caught, I knew that if I allowed for whatever would, like, for nature to happen, that my shorts were going to get caught, and then I was going to kind of fall head first onto the ground. That wasn't going to be a good thing.
Yeah.
So I was a pole vaulter in high school, and so I have quite a bit of, like, upper body and, like, core strength. And so I kind of gripped down on the fence to contort my body enough to, like, make it so that I could land on my feet. But in doing so, the fence literally went through, like, my palm and my finger. And so, like, I was sitting there the other day, and I was just kind of, like, staring at my hands. And then just also, like, my mind was split off into another section of, like, searching for community, searching for, like, partnership to build, like, searching for these other, like, social wealth things and stuff like that. And then looking at the, like, physical injuries that I've kind of gone through. And it just, you just, when you get in the zone, it just goes.
I swear, poets are such alchemists. They can take all this pain and turn it into gold. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And for folks out there who want a little more of this, come join us this Sunday, July 16th at noon p.m. if you're on the West Coast, 2 p.m. if you're in the Central Zone, 3 p.m. East Coast, 8 p.m. if you're in London, Nigeria time. My friends, it's going to be awesome. We'll do a writing workshop too, so you can create something. I want to just share 2 things. I know that you just released an awesome book because I have one right here.
Hey.
Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, that little fella. It's like a mini chap book.
Yeah.
And there's about 8 poems in there. It's very creatively folded together.
Yes, I love it.
I got my DIY art skills, origami skills back in there. Yeah, and so it's a mini chapbook. It features 8 shorts, poems, all about love. It's titled My Love Language Looks Like. I've been through a lot of, not cool times. And I often will just kind of, like, roll over because I can't sleep and type a couple lines or something like that. And so my buddy recommended that, putting out a book of shorts is cool. Nice little hustle when you do features and things like that, or send them to cool friends like my buddy Tom.
Hey.
And yeah, so I'm really pleased with the way it came out. Every book is hand embellished. So I believe on the open page, if you open the first page and look down in the butterflies, you'll see which number volume you have. It's in the second bottom butterfly.
Looks like 10.
Yeah, so you got number 10. There you go. Yeah, just a nice little special touch.
Cool.
you can also, if folks out there want to check it out, you can purchase them on my website, ashapoet.com, in the merch section.
Say it 3 times.
ashapoet.com. What was that? Asha Poet. Wait, who? Asha Poet. ASHA poet.com.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And y'all already know all of that information's in the show notes. All of that's at tommerl.com/Asha, ASHA. So you can get all that in the show notes. The other thing is, I believe you are releasing or have released a podcast. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. My buddy, T.H.E, who's a poet up here in the Bay Area, he came to me with this idea a little while back. We kind of giggle all the time. We're always laughing. And we kind of make each other laugh. So we were like, that's a good combination for doing something together. So he kind of approached me with this idea, which he had for quite some time. And basically just to provide some space for poets of color to come on. We have funny conversations about experiences at open mics and their experiences with the struggles and successes and influences. And you also get to hear a lot of their poetry. And so it's called the POC Podcast or Poets of Color Podcast. And you can find us on SoundCloud. And we're actually releasing our second episode. We already released our second episode, and then we're releasing every Saturday.
POC Podcast?
Yeah, Poets of Color Podcast. Yeah, you can also find us on Instagram, Poets of Color Podcast, or Facebook, Poets of Color Podcast.
Okay, it's all spelled out, Poets of Color Podcast.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is it .com? Do you have a .com or anything, or would just?
Yeah, but we're working off of a Tumblr right now. We're still
sweet.
Exploring the spaces.
Poets of Color Podcast.tumblr.com?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to hearing that. And we already know your website, ashapoet.com.
Yeah.
Otherwise, folks, come join us this Sunday, July 16th you already know the times, to hear Asha's feature. Anything else you want to leave folks with before we sign off and say peace and blessings?
No, I just appreciate the space and hopefully looking forward to having y'all come through for the next one.
Yes, indeed. I just want to affirm you and thank you, honor you for being here, for sharing, for going as deep as you did, for being vulnerable and authentic with us. It's crazy. I think, 2014 or 2015? We met at anti-bias training for teachers, connected. Then every time you'd visit LA, I'd line up with some open mics, or we'd get some awesome lunch buffet or something. And, I just appreciate the evolution of our friendship. It really means a lot to me.
Yeah, me too. It's like, when you meet somebody, you're like, oh, they're good folks, like they're folks that I can hold space with, that I can hold space for. And so I honor that with you too. And I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Folks, we really appreciate you joining us. We got nothing but love for you. We hope there was something that you heard that was just exactly what you needed to hear today. And if you're thinking maybe there's somebody else who needs to hear this, please go ahead and share this with people so they can enjoy this awesome experience that we had today. It's been truly a pleasure. Thank you once again, Asha, for joining us and for sharing your poetry.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Everybody out there, we're wishing you peace and blessings.
Peace.
Greetings, Tom Earl here. I hope you enjoyed that episode of The Celebration. I wanted to touch base because a lot of people have been having some amazing questions about the Celebration Academy. And so I wanted to give you a back-end perspective or a back-end insider's view of what is the Celebration. So the Celebration is an individualized learning platform where you get your own learning profile. And it has all of your lessons, your videos, your handouts, the MP3 downloads, everything you need right here on your own learning platform that you log into. And it's a 6-week course that, just like the podcast, it's a place for leadership, inclusion, and expression where we live as the best version of ourselves. Except with this, it takes a step-by-step systemic approach that builds upon each week so that you connect with your gifts and your purpose while taking your leadership, your expression, your communication, your relationships to the highest level of the best version of yourselves. It's a great program. As you can see, each week has 2 lessons, and they're in great sizes, 15 minutes each lesson, so that you can complete one lesson on the way to work and complete the other one on the way home from work, or however you'd like to break this down. So you can just go click right in. Here's your video. It's great. You can download the MP3, all your handouts. You can have comments here where your classmates or I can respond. It's great. And if you sign up right now, you're going to see right here that I include the achievement roadmap right there for you. At the same time, if you sign up right now, you get a one-on-one coaching session with me, which is going to be great. In addition, you get added to Leadership Makes Impact, which is a membership program where you get a free training every single month. So you can check that out all right here, tommerl.com/courses. Right there, you can enroll today. And if you'd like, we have a program called the Achievement Roadmap. It's a free 3-part course. Connects you with the tools, mindsets, and practice for stress-free time management and high-impact goal setting. So if you'd like, you can sign up for that for free just by going to tommerl.com/courses. Sign up for free right here, and then create your own unique, individualized user profile. Just enter your name, your email address, create a password, hit sign up for free, and you are in. Once you're in, it looks like this. And you have awesome stuff right here. Welcome each class, and you can download each one as an MP3 if you want to listen to it on the go. So I hope you consider doing that. And for all my artists out there, consider joining Art Makes Impact. It's a $10 a month membership program where you get access to all of the live and online writing workshops that I have done this year. And at the same time, I do exclusive writing workshops for Art Makes Impact members. We have a great time during that. We'd love to have you join us. It's $10 a month. We have a great time, and you can also download all these as MP3s, have comments. All of that can be found at tommerl.com/courses. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope you consider joining us. Sign up for free for the Achievement Roadmap and give us a test run. You won't be disappointed. As always, my friends, I'll see you next week, and I'm wishing you peace and blessings.